I cannot physically, mentally, or financially take care of myself, which means I cannot physically, mentally, or financially defend myself. For a disabled person to have to go through a whole life of this, being told that they're not trying while they're jumping through hoops that you guys don't have to try to jump through because you have help that I don't. Now, I got more help in the last year than I'd ever had the entirety of my life before that. The problem is that the cost of being falsely accused is enormous. Having to try to hunt for a safe place when I had a safe place before Natalie died. It wasn't a good place, but it was safe. It was a place where I could go, lock my door, and not have to do things that other people want me to do. Things that don't help because I've already tried. Well, Sean, if you're going to stay here, you have to jump through all of these hoops that we set up before you got here and didn't tell you about. Oh, and by the way, we're not going to help you how we said that we would now that you're here. Oh yeah, I have a major issue with that. I'm not a fucking idiot. That's the point. Instead of treating me like I'm a fucking retard, maybe you should shut the fuck up and listen. Being stuck at a meth head's house or an alcoholic's house. Well, you guys have dealt with them. You know how emotional they get, and they're emotional like that pretty much 24/7. If they're not emotional because they're on the substances, they're emotional because they want the substances. Meanwhile, I just want an environment that's not fucking screaming so I can do the shit I need to do. All of that money that was wasted trying to find me a safe place, and it's a bunch of screamers and abusers. Like, what the fuck is that about? Yeah, if you're gonna be screaming, it's not a positive environment. I can't function while you're screaming, so you need to stop screaming. Stopping screaming for 5 minutes doesn't do the job. Now, there's a few places where I was able to get a bit done. Lana and Amanda Engelines, I was able to get a little bit done there. They weren't screaming non-stop. Just Lana being pissy every time I opened my mouth, so I just learned not to open my mouth. It's a thing everywhere I go. Where I'm at now, I just pace because I can't speak. Anything that I say, these two are going to play off of each other to go, oh, well, Sean this and Sean that. No, fucking keep me the fuck out of it, you fucking meth heads. Or fucking alcoholics, or whatever the hell it happens to be at every place that I was at. And not all of them were terrible people. Most of them are pretty alright. They all screw up, everybody does. But the thing is, who are you judging and how? If it's alright for Shannon to scream every single day while I'm there, and it's okay for her boyfriend to scream back every single day that I'm there, why can't I? Why am I a bad person for doing it twice? See, that's the point there, is that the police, the public pretenders, the judges, they get paid whether you win or not. They have no incentive to do the right thing. When you're broke, you don't have any rights. And the more broke you are, the less rights you have. Now, the thing with people helping me out when it's way too late, that's because they didn't bother to call. They say ignorant shit like, well, you know, I saw your video on Facebook. Yeah. The reason I speak on Facebook is because I need actual help in person. Same reason I make these YouTube videos. I need actual help in person, and I'm trying to get that. It needs to be professional help, though. This going to some alcoholic's house hoping that they're going to actually do something, well, yeah, that's not going to happen. They're an alcoholic, or they're on meth. But because I'm highly intelligent, then it must be okay. Meanwhile, I don't get to speak at my own court dates. When somebody else fucks things up and it affects my life, there is no repercussions for them. There are no repercussions for Zoe Tanner for not doing her job. There are no repercussions for Pamela Carty for not doing her job. Now that judge in my case in Arapahoe, that judge should have dropped that shit right off the bat, and if Pamela Carty had even done 5 minutes of fucking work, then she would have gotten that case dropped. But she didn't. She didn't bother to show up. She didn't even show up on multiple occasions. Blindsiding me with shit just before court, and then pressuring me to make a decision without telling me what the repercussions were. That's the point there, is that I was never allowed an honest day in court. Everything was done to prevent that. Between, I want to say, November of 2016 and when Natalie died, I was trying to get help to stop the abuse. And I was never allowed to show that. And all these people who came after me, including the police after Natalie was killed, I was never allowed to defend myself. I'm not allowed to defend myself. I just have to take the abuse. I have to take the punishment. You're damn right I'm gonna speak out. Fuck you. I shouldn't have to depend on fucking drug dealers and alcoholics for help. If you're gonna do this to somebody and you're gonna completely shit on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, then that person should be killed. If they don't have the right to freedom of speech, they don't have the right to keep and bear arms. Well, those are two major issues that I have, because those are the first two amendments for a reason. Everyone should be allowed to defend themselves. Nobody should have to be afraid to go to the police. Nobody should be bullied to the point of being suicidal. And nobody should be bullied for being suicidal. I needed help, not bullied, not harassed, not told you need to do this and you need to do that. No, you need to shut the fuck up and find out what's going on. I can't function because I'm constantly stuck with meth heads and alcoholics. Meanwhile, there are people who are supposed to do something about this. People like Lisette Brown of Longmont, Colorado. People like Kara Heller and Jeff Ritter of Colorado Coalition for the Homeless. The police. That's the thing, is that I needed help because I am disabled. But if you're just gonna watch, what the hell kind of a human being are you? What the fuck kind of a dad can watch his son going through that shit and then treat his son like shit for going through it, for having an emotional response? Meanwhile, my dad is nothing but emotions, treating me like shit the whole fucking time I was there. Oh, well, you know, he gave you money. Really? So that makes it okay. It's okay to abuse somebody as long as you give them a little bit of money. No, I went there for help. And that Jeep would have been fucking great if I'd have had help. But the help that I needed was my dad coming forward and being honest. My dad's a fucking coward. He ain't doing that shit. I spoke with my Aunt Mary. She does not agree with my mom or my dad. I asked her if I was in the system as a kid because I was a bad kid, or if I was in the system because my parents wouldn't stay off the cocaine. You know what? My Aunt Mary said that it was because my parents couldn't stay off the cocaine.